Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading. I apologize for the poor sound quality in some of my recent videos. I'm having some technical troubles, software updates, and all kinds of strange things going on. I hope that this one is okay. I have got a new mic coming and working on the software issues, but let's move on and do the reading for today. And that is rather a somber topic. I did actually do a reading but didn't upload it because of the sound quality issues a few days ago. And the reading is about Her Majesty the Queen's poor health at the moment. She did, of course, miss the Remembrance Sunday service at the cenotaph. She was expected to go. Everyone was looking forward to seeing her, and then at the very last minute she pulled out with what was described as a sprained back. Now, Neil Sean, who seems to have some contacts at the palace, possibly Angela Kelly, so seems to be in the know. He said in a recent YouTube video that actually what was going on was what he called delayed bereavement. And I know about that. I saw it with my own mother when my father passed away. She had a spurt of energy and she rushed around and she did all kinds of things, embraced life for the first few months, and then she just fell over very suddenly, got very ill. And so I do agree that there is such a thing. I don't know what the technical term is, but delayed bereavement is certainly something that I have seen in my own life. And so definitely possible. I am going to do a Celtic cross using the lovely Light Seers Tarot and just have a look at the general situation around the Queen's health at the moment. The Light Seers Tarot, of course, this is the box it comes in for those of you who are interested. It's a very lovely deck. And so, as I say, I'm going to do a Celtic cross, just look at the Queen's general health, what's going on with her, and specifically whether those two wayward princes, Harry and Andrew, might have something to do with the fact that she is rather struggling at the moment. And then the outcome that I will be looking at will be how she will be doing getting towards June of 2022, June of next year, when of course the Platinum Jubilee celebrations climax in the Trooping the Colour, and there is a concert and there are various other things going on. And so I just want to see how she'll be doing in it's about 8 months time. So just a general reading, looking at her health, and at the moment the underlying energy is the Six of Wands in reverse, and that is for me feeling defeated, feeling tired, and just not feeling like she wants to be out and about in public, doing her public ceremonial roles. The Six of Wands is the card of triumph, of ceremony, processions, that kind of thing. It's a very appropriate card for something like the Remembrance Sunday service at the cenotaph. Usually in the Rider-Waite, the traditional Rider-Waite, it's somebody on horseback with crowds lining the streets, adoring crowds lining the streets. And so that would be, of course, the ceremony that was on Sunday, yesterday in fact. And of course the Queen very notably absent, and a lot of people very emotional, members of the royal family very emotional, while she was so obviously missing. And so let's have a look from her point of view, from the Queen's point of view, what her situation is right now. And we get the Two of Pentacles, and Pentacles do represent the physical body and physical health and well-being. So Two of Pentacles, she's trying to achieve some form of balance in her life, equilibrium, balance systems, make sure that everything is equalized and that she is feeling well. And that could relate also to her emotions and trying to attain some form of emotional equilibrium. This person in this card, this girl in this card, is very contemplative as she is holding those two, whatever they are, and she's trying to balance them. She's trying to just get things on an even keel, and so I think that's very significant and very sensible. It's just trying to make things more even in her life. But the challenge is the Ten of Wands, and that's the exhaustion card. We've already seen exhaustion in the underlying energy, the Six of Wands in reverse. Now we have the Ten of Wands as her challenge, her difficulty, her obstacle, what she's facing. It's a lonely journey that she's on at the moment. It's always for me a lonely card, the Ten of Wands. The person struggling with their burdens, exhausted. It's been a long road, a long and winding road, and they've really reached the end of their journey and they're exhausted and they just want to put those burdens down. So for her, yes, it has been a long journey and she is tired and she does need to rest, and she probably feels quite alone at the moment, and obviously so, given the fact that she has been recently bereaved and is still processing it, as we see with those Two of Pentacles. That's processing, balancing, understanding things, adjusting to a new way of being on her own, very much on her own. So what is hidden? What is really lying at the heart of all of this? And that's the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands is the happy home card. Essentially, it's the strong foundation, and she did have a very strong marriage, a very, I think, happy marriage. I'm sure it went through its ups and downs, but by and large for her it was a very supportive and a very important relationship, and it's statingly, blindingly obvious. But I did do a reading a while back on the Queen and Prince Philip and their marriage, and I saw for him that it was more challenging than for her. For her it was a source of great comfort and support, and I can't unfortunately remember the number of that reading right now, but it is in the royal playlist on my channel if you want to go back and look at it. And there it is, there in the underlying energy. The thing that she's really contemplating is that she had all that support, all that happiness, all that security, and it has now, of course, been removed. And so what is her focus on? Her conscious mind, her focus? And we get the Strength card in reverse. So she is feeling weak. She is feeling embattled. She's feeling frail at the moment. There it is in the upright. The Strength card is, of course, that inner strength as well as physical strength. She's feeling frail. She's feeling vulnerable. It is a card of illness when it is in the reverse position like this is now. So there is weakness there. There is fragility there. Mental fragility and emotional fragility, exhaustion, upset, feeling out of balance, feeling out of sorts and unstable. We've seen her walking recently with a cane, so there's literally physical instability, imbalance, and definitely emotional as well. So recent past for the Queen, what's been going on, and wow, that's a very difficult card for her to deal with, the Devil. There's been a lot of difficulty in her life. We always, tarot readers I know, refer to the Devil as Meghan Markle. Poor Meghan Markle is the Devil in tarot now, the Devil personified. But it doesn't only have to be the difficulty that has come from Meghan Markle, but also just dealing with difficulties in life, in toxic situations, difficulties. It's not only Meghan that has brought difficulty into the Queen's life recently, of course, Prince Andrew has as well. She's been involved in some very toxic and very difficult situations in the recent past, things that she really should not have had to deal with, very ugly things, lies, betrayal, treachery, narcissism, all kinds of ugly behavior, possibly even people involved in problems with addiction, certain members of her family, that one would be Prince Harry, and people involved in sexual misdemeanors, and that would of course be Prince Andrew. So she's had to deal with some quite ugly things recently, and for a woman of her age and from her generation where things like that really weren't dealt with, very difficult for her, I think personally, very, very difficult for her to have to hear about, to have to think about, and no wonder she's feeling burdened at the moment and exhausted. and wishing that she was back in happier times with her support by her side in the form of Prince Philip. And so what will be coming up for her in the near future? And we're talking about her health. And we get the High Priestess in reverse. And that also is a difficult card, Major Arcana. The High Priestess is the silent card, silent withdrawal, meditating, contemplating, being connected to your soul, being connected to your divine purpose. Your inner wisdom, guidance. In the reverse, she's going to be feeling out of sorts. She's going to be feeling very disconnected from her spiritual comfort, and that's unfortunate for her. Very interesting. We have the Devil on the one side and the High Priestess on the other side, and the High Priestess in the reverse is a bit of a devil energy, so she's not out of the woods yet with that difficult energy, and she may be seeking solace. She may be seeking spiritual counsel and not really finding the comfort that she used to find in those things, and that's not going to help her. That's a spiritual discomfort. It's not physical malaise. None of this is telling me, in fact, that there is actual physical illness, except for this fact that she's focused on the fact that she's not feeling as strong as she was. But for me, that's mental strength more than physical strength. So tough times for the Queen. Definitely tough times. The cards are absolutely confirming that. But let's look now at the specific individuals that I mentioned with this Devil card. First of all, Prince Harry. How is Prince Harry affecting her health? And the Three of Wands has come out in the reverse. And that is a waiting in vain card. When you've got the Three of Wands in the upright, you're waiting hopefully. You are expecting good things. You have launched your ships. You're waiting for them to come back. This girl in here with her surfboard is waiting for that perfect wave to come in, and she's going to ride that wave. In the reverse, the waiting is in vain. You give up waiting. You know that whatever optimism, whatever faith and hope you had has been in vain, and your ships are not going to return. And so it's a card of disappointment, really, and of giving up and of saying, well, I'm not going to wait anymore. So she's very disappointed. I think she was really hoping that Prince Harry would turn up, that he would come back, that somehow the situation would change, it would improve, and it's not improving, it's not changing. And so there's a lot of disappointment, there's a lot of feeling that she's put a tremendous amount of energy into a situation and it has not borne fruit so far with Prince Harry. It's not Major Arcana, it's not devastation, it's not some of the cards that could have come out that would be devastating, but it's difficult energy, it's disappointing energy, and it also has for me a feeling of exhaustion about it. Wands, when they're in the reverse, are exhaustion. You don't have that life force, that spirit, that inner fire and drive that you would have when the Wands are in the upright. Prince Andrew, that's the Knight of Swords in the reverse. It's always a reckless, foolhardy, rash energy, even when it's in the upright. Someone charging along on a path of action that may not be the wisest, and when it's in the reverse, it has a bit of the Fool in reverse energy about it. The Knight of Swords, rash, reckless, impetuous, hasn't thought things through. He certainly didn't, in my opinion, respond to the Virginia Roberts court case in the most sensible way. He, I think, was quite rash and reckless in his behavior. That's all my opinion. Tarot reading, entertainment purposes. Throw out the disclaimer. But she feels disappointed, I think, in him as well, that he's been foolish, foolhardy. He hasn't taken his duties seriously enough. He hasn't responded to difficulty in an appropriate way. So both cards of disappointment in the way people have behaved and the way they have responded to her and to her guidance, probably to her wise words. Certainly Prince Andrew doesn't appear to have listened, and Prince Harry doesn't appear to have listened either. So I think disappointment there. I don't see, again, in either of these cards, ill health, physical ill health, more exhaustion and disappointment, which obviously affects the physical body very much, as we all know. And hopes and fears right now for Her Majesty the Queen in her health. She's hoping that she can recover from this very serious setback. The Tower is a shock, a surprise, a setback. She wasn't expecting it. She is, of course, a Taurus, and Taurus, as my mother was, born on the same day as the Queen, different age, but literally the same birthday, very similar energy. So I'm quite familiar with this. Taurus, very dogged, very determined, just determined to plow on, never stops, never rests, never really goes inward and analyzes. And no, I'm not being rude about Taurus energy. To me, it's admirable that you can be so strong and reliable and just keep going, whereas many of us are thrown off course by these kinds of setbacks. Taurus, not so much, but it came as a terrible shock to the Queen when she realized that she was actually mortal, actually human, actually was suffering far more from this grief and loss than she realized and than she thought she was suffering. And so she is hoping that she can recover, she can rebuild from this Tower moment, recover her strength and get back out there and be seen in public and continue with her duties as all good Taurians want to continue with their duties. And again, I am not being mocking at all. I'm filled with respect for this amount of commitment and sense of purpose. So final card of this reading, and I'm sorry they are yet again all squished up, but I dare not move anything in case I upset the microphone. So outcome, and the outcome I'm asking is, how's she going to be between now and June, when the Jubilee, the Platinum Jubilee, really culminates with a long weekend from the 2nd to the 5th of June. Really, how's she going to be then? Outcome. And, well, she's going to be free. Eight of Swords in reverse. She's going to be free from something. And I am hoping sincerely she's not going to be free from this mortal coil. I don't want to read that card like that at all. But whatever feeling of being trapped, of being stuck, of being afraid, also, the Eight of Swords is mental fears. You've thought yourself into a tricky situation. You've imagined a tricky situation rather than actually being in a tricky situation. She's free. So that is liberation for her, freedom from fear, freedom from the stuck energy. So whatever is going on with her right now, that seems to me to be more mental, more emotional than physical, and exactly what Neil Sean said, delayed bereavement, and I think exacerbated by the difficulties she's had with Prince Andrew and Prince Harry. She is going to be free from them. And that's a good thing. That's a good outcome. I would rather see that card, Eight of Swords in reverse, than many of the other cards that the tarot could have produced for us. That would have really been concerning. That is not a concerning card. That seems to tell me that whatever difficulty she's going through right now will be over by the time we get to the June celebrations, and she will be free, hopefully, to enjoy them as she really should be enjoying them, her reward for a very long life of service. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you were able to hear this reading, and I thank you for watching and for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.